And here we have that old trailer I bought, that little Ram 50 trailer. I've made some modifications to it already. I'm not sure if I like them. But today I'm going to build a side rack that will fold down and be a torch table. I've got this old bed angle. I don't really have any other use for it, so I'm going to use that as the slats to lay the steel on and have the sparks go through. And it's already collecting, bits and pieces. I've had my chop saw rigged up like this for a while, just on a receiver hitch with a clamp, and I like it. I'm just going to try to work this into a side that folds up and down too. This will possibly be a solid bench for welding on. So it's gonna, and then I've got an old aluminum box that's gonna go on the front. I gotta move the jack and some stuff like that. Still working on where I want the chop saw to sit. I'd also like to incorporate my little portable drill press back there. And the premise being finding a way to weatherproof everything so I can just leave it on the trailer. And then my sawhorses here will fit down the center beam, excuse me, between the racks so that I can always have my sawhorses with. And then for the most part it'll sit in the shop here and it'll actually become my workbench. But then if I have a job that's really, really big, really detailed with a lot of cutting and a lot of small pieces to be sub-welded, I can just hook onto the trailer and take everything with me. I don't have to take everything off a workbench and pack it on my already full truck. Speaking of which, I fixed some irrigation for a farmer friend of mine and I scored a bunch of roller chain for Damascus later on here. And some cable too. But yeah, basically a version of a rolling tool cart or rolling workbench that instead of using little puny casters, I just use regular sized wheels and I can take it with me. And then when it fills up or I get enough scrap, I can just tip the tabletops up, load it full of my scrap, and have it take it to the scrapyard and get rid of it. So we'll get started here. It's kind of wide spacing for what I do. It'll work. And use 60-10 rod because I have a bunch that's kind of going bad, and I don't really trust it for some of the higher end stuff. So, and these are going to get scarred up and cut to pieces. So eventually they'll be cut out and replaced anyway. But this should at least give me a workspace to use the torch and plasma cutter on. I may not have mentioned this. I got a plasma cutter. Getting a better light here. Let's see. It's a Lotus LTP 50,000. Yeah. And I got this one. A veterinarian traded it to me for some work. So not much different than the roller chain. Been working for what I need it for. So that's this side of it. Now I've still got to figure out how to make this side filled in. Move the chop saw back, and probably take a piece of steel like this tabletop here and make another side so I can weld on it too. I've done a little more work on it. I didn't record the process because I didn't have time. I just got it done. You know, didn't want to mess around with the camera. But took the chop saw stand and added on a couple lengths of tubing, and then just took this 1/4 inch diamond plates, welded it to the top. It's open because my depth gauge or length gauge for my chop saw cuts sticks out underneath it. So now I can weld on this side of the table. I can cut what I need to cut. I can extend out my little stop so that I can, you know, cut the same cut repeatedly without having to measure them all. Now I'm just kind of determining where I want my vise to go. And kind of, you know, I'm thinking maybe here, you know, kind of thing. So here on the torch side, kind of maybe got an idea of putting the vise here. And then I'd like my drill press to kind of slide in right here. I'll just make a little plate that bolts on through these holes, and then it'll slide into a receiver hitch too. And then I might do something different with the saw so it's easier to remove. But for the most part, everything's going to stay put unless it's raining. And then eventually I'm going to weatherproof it. I'm going to take some kind of, I'll make a metal box out of aluminum or something, and then use latches to hold it down to a base with a weather stripping in it. On the can that comes off, the weather stripping will go with it. So then I can just cinch it down and it'll keep it dry, and then when I want to use it I just pull it off and, you know, it's ready to go. But until then, I'll have that toolbox on the front that I can store stuff in if it's raining. Otherwise, when I tilt these up to use it as a regular trailer, I'm going to have to take the tools off of it too. Otherwise they'll hang out there all stupid and funny. But yeah, there's the basic concept. I might make some legs that fold down, just stubs, so I can open the tailgate when the table's in the down position. Just a thought. There'll just be a hinge, you know, a pin, so that, and kind of a counterweight system, so that as this comes down it'll swing out and catch, kind of a deal. I don't know, we can play with that. I'm going to put jacks on all 4 corners, or at least the back 2 corners. Yeah, I'm going to have, this is going to be a big time saver, I think, just being able to take it wherever I go. And of course the sawhorses will slide in the middle. And yeah, you got to get that toolbox on here yet. Yeah, that's the basic idea. Just take my workbench with me.